Welcome Quest fans, Tony here, and today I'm going to show you how you can install and play light gun games, all the ones you're seeing here and more, for your Oculus Quest. Now the Oculus Quest is great for playing light gun games because number one, it offers a nice big screen, and number two, your controller is already kind of set up like a light gun. You just point at the screen and click to fire, and that's it, simple as that. Now before I go on, if you do like this video, do subscribe, as every subscription really helps me make more content like this for you in the future. So subscribing and hitting that notification bell really helps me out. So let's get started. Now in this video I'll show you 3 different methods of installing light gun games. Now make sure you watch the entire video and stick around to the end, because these 3 different methods will offer you different variety of games you can play. Now the first method of installing light gun games is very simple. Go to the website APK Pure, search for the light gun game you want, then just install it via SideQuest like you see me doing on screen here. Then you go into your Quest, go into library, go into unknown sources, find your game, and you're good to go. Now these games I found are very straightforward. Once you've installed them, they should work fine with very little to no setup. You just point your controller at the screen and press it, and it treats it like a touch screen. Now you might find some of these games don't run. Some of them will say you need Google services to run. However, some of them, even though they say that, you can still play them. Like this game here requires Google services. The Quest doesn't support that, yet I can still play it just fine. Now these games that I'm showing you are all from the APK Pure website. There are more games out there of course like these. These are just my favorites, and I haven't found any issues with them. They run just fine, the aiming works well, and the ones I've tried also seem to save your progress. Now just be careful when downloading APK files. Make sure you trust the website, make sure you trust the file. The website APK Pure is fine. You should be fine downloading APK files from that, but just be wary of other sites which may come with malicious files like viruses or malware when you download the APK file, so just be wary of that. Now another method of playing these light gun games is through the emulator mame. Now you can get an APK version of mame that goes on your touch phone, and again you can get this from the website APK Pure. So there are a few emulators out there. I'm going to choose the top one, mame for Droid, but certainly try the other ones out. You might find they're better. They might emulate other games that this one I'm trying doesn't. So we download the mame emulator, then like before we go to SideQuest and we sideload it onto our Quest, making sure our headset's connected. Then what we want to do next before anything else is run the emulator. So go to your library, unknown sources, you should find it listed there. Once you run it, it will create a ROMs folder. And then once that ROMs folder is created, you can then go back into your Quest. So connect it to your computer, access it through your Explorer, internal storage, then find the mame folder. And inside that mame for Droid folder, you'll find the ROMs folder, and just paste your main ROMs into the ROMs folder. As simple as that. Then when you start up mame again, it will search for these ROMs, it will find the ROMs, and you can then select the one you want to play. It should work right off the bat again. Now you can see here I've got quite a few classic light gun titles in my ROMs folder. There's a bunch of on-screen controls, the joystick, the buttons. You can add coins on your left, you can start the game and access options on the column to your right. Now these games work perfectly fine, the aim was fine. The only tiny issue I had with this Jurassic Park game was the aiming wasn't as good as the other games, but still perfectly playable and fun to play. Now I did try this emulator with other ROMs such as House of the Dead, Virtual Cop, both classic light gun games. Unfortunately couldn't get them to work. I'm not sure if it might be the ROM set, it might even be the emulator that I need to change, or a couple of options. I'm sure you can get them working somehow, and that's really the disadvantage of these kinds of light gun games over the first method, which was really straightforward and simple. These require a bit more setup, can be a bit more fiddly, and have some issues, but once you get them working, they work fine and they can be a real joy to play. Now you can also save and load states with this emulator, and this isn't the only APK emulator out there. There's plenty others such as EPSXE, a PlayStation emulator you have to pay for but has touchscreen functionality, and I hear it's quite good. So there's plenty out there just to experiment with. Now we'll move on to the third and final method, which is similar to this one but a bit different, and that is RetroArch. So RetroArch is a program that allows you to install multiple emulators. And recently there was an update to some of these emulators to add touchscreen functionality. And like I said before, that's how this works. It presumes your Oculus screen here is a touchscreen. So once you enable touchscreen on those emulators, you can play a gun game like this. So in the description below, I have a guide on installing RetroArch. It's really simple. Here's the website showing you the different emulators in RetroArch that have touchscreen functionality, the ones that I'm aware of. And so to play these games on RetroArch, the third method, I go into Oculus TV, I go into channels, then I select RetroArch. Once I'm in RetroArch, the first thing I want to do is load my core. So a core is essentially an emulator. I'm going to choose the SCE UMM emulator. It's a NES emulator and it has touchscreen functionality. Then I click the cog, I go down and I select the on-screen display option. I make sure the on-screen overlay is turned on, that's important. Now I go back to home, I load content, I load my light gun game. So this particular game I'm going to be playing is called Mechanized Attack. So once this starts up, you'll see I have my overlay of controls. I just go up to the Space Invader type symbol. I go down to options. So this is the game options here. Once I'm in options, I scroll down again and I go down to Zapper mode. I make sure that's turned on to touchscreen. So once that's turned on to touchscreen, I'm good to go. I go back to my game and it should all work fine. Now the only problem was I could only get this working with NES. I tried a couple of touchscreen emulators for RetroArch. They didn't quite work for me. I'm sure there's a way to do it. And I haven't tried all of the touchscreen emulators for RetroArch, but if you do find some of the others work, do leave a comment in the comment section below. That's about it from me. I hope you enjoyed my video. Remember to subscribe and like, and I'll catch you next time.